Have you started late in MMA, BJJ, or whatever your passion or sport is? And do you feel like you're doing a lot of catching up? Do you feel like it's pointless even doing a sport at all because, well, you've started late? Maybe you started in your late teens, 20s, 30s, or even 40s. Well, I'm going to talk you through how we can maximize your potential and potentially surpass people who started before you. Just make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. So I want to start with a personal story and try and change your perspective on why starting later might be actually a good thing. Now, I started quite young. Started judo at 7 years old, and I always loved martial arts. It was always something I wanted to do. There wasn't much else I wanted to do with my life. However, coming from a background of living in Northern Ireland, there wasn't a high level of coaching at that time. And I started MMA at 15. I'd already done judo for a while, but I started MMA at a gym that wasn't the most technical. There wasn't the most experience. And at that time, there wasn't many coaches in the country who knew what they were talking about. So we were learning as we were going. And as a result, I picked up a lot of bad habits. I did a lot of things incorrectly. And it took me a long time to unlearn them things and get better. You see, learning things incorrectly is worse than not knowing anything at all. You see, if I throw a jab incorrectly and I always bring my elbow out, that's going to get your head punched off later down the line in fights, because people are going to be able to notice that tell. They're going to read every time you're going to throw a jab and then counter you. Whereas if you started later down the line and you were just shown how to throw that jab correctly straight off the bat, you'd be much better off. Success isn't just about how you start, it's how you adapt and improve. And no matter where you're at right now, I want you to understand that you can succeed no matter what. And I'm going to go through some actual points and details here on how you can maximize the time you've got left. So we're going to talk about genetics. Now listen, I need you to understand they do play a role, and people who are naturally faster and stronger and more coordinated are going to do better. Like, it's just a natural trait. They might recover better, have better endurance, and to be honest, people that start sports and martial arts young develop better motor skills, they have better coordination, and they're better athletes. Now, genetics and starting early set the foundation, okay, but they're not the whole story. It's not the whole shebang. So people often never reach their potential because they don't train right, they're not consistent, and that's where you're going to have edge over competition. Also, the mindset you may particularly have, the fact you're so passionate about it starting later on down the line, is a massive advantage. So the first step we need to understand is we need to drill the basics properly. Proper technique, precision, and creating a really strong foundation in all areas of martial arts. That's your boxing, your Muay Thai, your wrestling, BJJ, and combining it together. You need the foundations and basics done correctly. A lot of people do it wrong. If you do these correctly, you spend extra time on them, you're going to speed up your rate of progress, and you're going to catch the people who've started earlier than you much faster, especially if you get it precise. Now, this is important that you go to a really good gym for that. Like a gym that has a really good background of developing high-level fighters from a grassroots level. Step number 2, build an athletic base. Listen, there's nothing worse than that beginner who's strong, fast, powerful, and fit. They always do really well, really quickly. An athletic base is the best thing you can do. No matter where you're starting, no matter how athletic you initially start, you can improve your physicality. So here's how we improve that. You need an athletic program. So you need to do strength training, you need a power. You need to train your power and explosive power. You need to get as fit as possible for MMA, so your energy systems, such as your lactic and lactic acid systems, your aerobic system needs to be very efficient, and you need to improve that and stay consistent with that. It should be your life. It should be your life to become as athletic as possible, and that takes time, by the way. That needs to be started now, not just a 12-week camp before you have a fight. Now, you need to train more than anyone else, okay? If you're trying to catch up with other people, you're going to have to train harder than anyone else, more than anyone else. But on top of that, you need to recover better than everyone else as well. So you need to have your sleep dialed in. You need to have your hydration dialed in. You need to be doing mobility and stretching daily to ensure that you're recovering and you can consistently turn up to training. And that's hard. That's the hard part. You need to recover almost as hard as you train. Harder than you train. Okay, here's an important tip for you. So you need to make sure you're leveraging your passion. The fact you're starting late means you have less chances of burning out mentally. I burnt out at 26. I had a fractured back. I was nearly going blind. So you need to make sure you want this more than anyone else. That combined with training smart will destroy anything over natural talent. And you might be naturally talented, by the way. You don't know if you are or not. You haven't done it long enough yet. So you might be naturally talented, but your passion is going to be so much more important than any of that. This journey is yours and yours alone. So the fact you're even watching this video and thinking, I wonder if I'm going to catch up to the Dagestanis and Americans, means your focus is on the wrong area in the first place. Your focus should be on, how do I get better today than I were yesterday? Like, your competition is yourself. Yes, you are competing against other people in the world and you should be focused on fighting other people. But at the same time, you should be focused day to day on your improvement with yourself as well. Okay, so how much better did you get today? And that is where the beauty is going to happen, because you can look back in 10, 20 years' time and think to yourself, well, you know what, I started MMA late, but look what I achieved. And that's your personal journey, no one else's. Don't let a late start hold you back. If anything, use it as fuel, because this will be the story someday you tell your kids, your grandkids, your daughter, whoever else in your life. Someday this is going to be the thing that's going to separate you apart from anyone else. It's really down to you. Anyway, I'm going to try and create videos like this regularly. So if you have any topics that you want covered, just comment down below. I'll try my best to make them. Going to try and do vlogs and all that shite. I've neglected YouTube. So if you enjoyed this, give it a like and I'll speak to you again.